this module, we're going to be talking about proprioception. So before we can really talk about it, we probably need to understand what it is. Proprioception is a big, fancy word for something pretty basic. What it means is it's the perception or awareness of the position and movement of the body. How this applies to our dogs is them understanding that they have a front end and a hind end, they have 4 limbs and feet, and that they understand where they are in space. How this applies to agility is the dog understanding, for example, when they go across an obstacle like the dog walk, which is kind of narrow and it's high up in the air, that they are comfortable with where their feet are and they know that their feet are staying on the plank and not, as they're trying to go across it, stepping off to the side where the dog is slipping and hopefully not falling. And then that, of course, they lose confidence. They can get a little scared. And a lot of times dogs are scared of things, not because they're worried about the height of something, but they don't have good body awareness. They don't know where their body is in space. So they're afraid of putting a foot wrong. This is something that you can easily work on at home without even having agility obstacles. You can, and I'll demonstrate a few things, but of course they're with things that we have at our facility. But you can come up with things at home. A ladder, having your dog step through a ladder so that they're comfortable as it's on the ground. They're comfortable stepping over the rungs and aware of where all of their feet are. You could use stair steps work great for this, kind of going up and down and turning around on stair steps so they're understanding where their feet are a little bit better. You could come up with just a plank at home, something that has a non-slip surface. So if it's a wood plank, you can put something on it so the dog's not slipping, and just elevate it off the ground just a little bit. So they're learning the difference from when their feet are up and on something as to when their feet are on the ground, and they can learn to turn around and walk on it. You could also make something like a wobble board. So if you are let's say you're in woodworking project, you could kind of come up with something that's dual purpose. A wobble board is a piece of wood that's at least big enough for your dog to stand on, and then it's got a little ball underneath of it in the middle of it, so it wobbles around in different directions as the dog stands on it. And if you make that and you do woodworking, you could have a woodworking project that helps your dog training project. So there's all sorts of fun things that you can come up with at home. You can use your creativity and kind of have a lot of fun with it. In this little exercise I'm going to demonstrate, I am using something that's called a fit bone. You could use a balance disc. Maybe your parents have one. Something that you could buy at Target or Walmart that's not very expensive, but they can kind of get on it and it moves around a little bit, which is going to help for our next module. But in this little exercise I'm demonstrating with Lua, just her coming and putting a foot up on it. Now I'm clicking when she offers a foot up on it. And then I'm giving her a cookie, and then I'm actually throwing what's called a setup cookie, or a reset cookie. So I'm throwing it away from it so she goes to get it, and then she's coming back towards the obstacle again, which kind of helps her initiate getting up on it again. So I'm not really luring on this. She's kind of offering. And on this right now, she's just putting her front feet up on it. She doesn't really understand how to get her hind feet up, so I would be working on that. So there I throw kind of a reset cookie, so she walks back towards it. She puts front feet up on it. I click, I throw another cookie. I kind of shift it around a little bit so it looks a little bit different, but she's just kind of understanding her front end. Now, the thing is, most dogs are pretty good about understanding where their front end is in space, but they don't know that they have any body behind their shoulders. So their back and their hind legs, they kind of forget about or aren't aware of where they are. So with her, I would gradually start working on her being comfortable getting a third foot up on this. This is a little bit small for us to be starting it, but a third foot, and then eventually a fourth foot, and have all 4 feet up on this. But again, this is kind of small and it does move up from under her, and it has a little different textures on both sides. So I'm flipping it over so she has the side that's a little more textured. And then pretty soon I'm going to lure her a little bit to see if I can get that third foot on. And then there she offered it. I clicked rewarded. And so she got a reward. So eventually work on her getting all 4 feet on that. You can use a box. You can work on, and maybe you guys have seen, there's different websites or different videos you can look up. It's called 101 Things to Do with the Box. Get on the box, put a foot in the box, put 4 feet in the box. Those kind of things, just working them, understanding where their bodies are. On the next one, I am going to be working on just a plank. Now, I apologize. It's going to get a little wiggly because in this video, I have my camera up at the top of the plank of the dog walk. And so every time she gets on it, I didn't realize how much it moves. It's going to wiggle a little bit when she gets on it. And here I'm kind of luring her. Now, this is what I call jungle gym agility. There's no rules to it. It's not like she's doing the dog walk, because she's not quite 5 months old, and so she's really too young to be doing all of this. She won't be doing really anything that looks agility wise as far as with obstacles or jumping until she's well over a year old. But we do these little jungle gym things as she's young, so she gets comfortable with where her body is on things. So on this, it's the plank that kind of comes down off the dog walk. So I'm just having her get up and turn around. I'm luring her. So, yeah, see, you can see how she's like, whoop, there went a foot. Whoop, there went a foot. But it's not a big deal. She's not up very high. So if she were to slip, she's not going to fall very, very far or hurt herself. But she's just learning, oh, I need to be aware with where my feet are. And that was really good. She was able to turn around. So I love my dogs being able to turn around on planks and on items so that they are comfortable with where their bodies are. And I'm kind of luring. If she wants to get off, I'm not forcing her to stay on. And the thing is, because I'm not forcing her to and she's choosing to get on, you can see she was just happy to get right back up on there again. I'd like them to turn both directions so they can turn to their left and to their right. But you can see she's really having to think about how to get her body and bend in that. All right. And then the next one, I'm kind of doing a little bit different approach on this where she's offering to get on. I click, throw kind of a reset cookie. And here she's learning to get on and come to the end. So I'm actually starting her end behavior, which would be on, at some point, it could be her coming into a 2-on-2 off or a stopped behavior at the bottom. She's going to have a running contact. So I'm just rewarding her for being down in the yellow, in the contact zone of this. So she's getting to learn that that's a good place to be. You can see I'm clicking and then the click is ending the behavior and she's going to get her cookie, which is getting thrown a different direction. So that can dictate how she's coming back onto this. So you can use your marker cues and just a little shaping. So before, where I was luring her just to come up and turn around and follow the cookie, this is different. I'm shaping her behavior to offer getting on it. And the thing is, if you allow the dogs to offer behaviors like this, they are much happier knowing that it's their choice to do it versus trying to drag them onto it or lure them some with the cookie. Luring is better than forcing and dragging the dog. We never want to drag the dog onto something they're not comfortable with. But you can see by letting her choose to get on it, she's happy to get on it. She's comfortable. She's like, yeah, whoop, here, I can get my hind feet up there. Yay, good girl. I was super, super happy with that. So she gets a little bit of a jackpot where I go, woohoo, here's a lot of cookies. And then a little bit of a party for it. Yeah. So again, you can work your dog having body awareness and using some little obstacle type things that you might have at home. And even if you have access to a dog walk, an A-frame, you don't need to be doing the full obstacles. You can do these little jungle gym games with your dogs so they can learn it's fun. They can build confidence in where their bodies are on the equipment, and that'll make it a little bit more enjoyable for them overall. All right, so work on building up your dog's proprioception.